everybody, and welcome to the Two-Player Podcast with Matt Likes Games and Ham Solo. Enjoy the show. And welcome to the Two-Player Podcast with Matt Likes Games and Hamothy Solo. Enjoy the show.
We are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two-Player Podcast with myself, Matt Likes Games. I got my buddy Ham Solo here. We got a few things to talk about this week, but before we get into it, obviously, intros and everything. Ham, what are you up to? How you been? How's your day? What's going on?
Maybe I might start doing that from now on.
What's that?
Just like whenever somebody opens up with my name, I just do the Prince.
Oh.
and just don't even smile. Just look at.
Just say Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy.
Shoot the J. No.
Shoot
it. Right.
Shoot it.
But man, you asked how I was doing. I'm still calming down right now. I just got back from a horrible trip to Walmart.
Oh,
I was thinking, I left here at 15 after the last hour. So for you, that'd be, 1:15?
Yeah.
For me, it was 12:15. And I was like, I'm just going to go up the street, grab, some water for my house because we hate doing the water bottle rigmarole. So I went and grabbed, I got one of those 5-gallon jugs of water, and we have one of those dispensers here in our apartment, which is nice. But I went to go get the water, and while I was there, I was like, this will be a quick trip just down the street. Let me go into the electronics section, just look at the games real quick. And the games are just kind of like pretty much non-existent. Not very many games back there. And I was like, shoot, I'm here at Walmart. Let me see if I can get a pop filter for my mic.
Oh yeah.
That's where everything went wrong.
Huh?
I went up to the associate and I was like, let me get that pot. Let me get a pop filter. If you guys like, do you have any pop filters? And they're like, pot filters. They're in the garden. And I'm like, no, not a pot filter, a pop filter. And they just like, all three of them just like cocked their heads sideways and looked at me. And I was like, a pop filter, a filter that goes in front of a microphone when you talk to it. And they're like, they just looked at me crazy. There are three guys in the electronics section.
Yeah.
And I'm just
don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not like blown away that they don't know, but like I'm just blown away that they like think I'm in the wrong section. They're talking to me like I'm in the wrong place. And one guy looks it up and he's like, "Is this it?" And shows me a hyper. What's that? HyperX, right? HyperX, right? Yeah. He showed me a HyperX microphone, just a regular microphone by HyperX.
No.
I was like, no, that's not a pop filter. I was like, that's a mic. And then I looked it up on my phone and showed them what a pop filter was, and they were like, "Oh, I've seen one of those things before." Like,
right?
Dude,
Yeah.
I felt like I was like in South Park or something. Like, I've seen one of those thingamajigs before.
Like, congratulations. I've seen them too.
He looked it up on his phone, and sometimes it's a bad company. Sometimes it's bad people. But this time it was bad people in a bad company. It was just horrible because when he looked it up, he's like, "Oh, it says that it's on G. It's at the end of aisle G, like 14 or something. Some weird couple of numbers for aisles for whatever reason that they got, and or numbers mixtures with letters, which whatever." And then he's like, "It's over by the pharmacy." Might I add,
that's insane.
That's completely across the store. And I'm like, there's no way that can be in a pharmacy. And he's like, "I don't really understand it either. But you should definitely go check." And I just left. At that point, I just went, replaced my water, and just left. I didn't even go waste my time to go look next to the pharmacy to see if there was a pop filter for microphones. There's no way.
You should go check it out. You should go see if I'm right. You should see if that's true. That's hilarious. Yeah, and I made it here home. As you can see, I popped in like 2 minutes before we would like to start the show, but we never started on time. So whatever. What's funny is this is early for us for me starting the show really, because normally I have it set for 2 and we don't start till 2:15. I had it set for 2. We started at what 2:06. We're all good. We're all good here. Vord, appreciate you for stopping by. But other than that, what have you been playing?
As for what I've been playing, well, last night I played a little bit of that God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. Right?
Ooh, I need to try that. Is it good?
It's a roguelike. It's exactly what you would think it is. It's just you running around killing people, and then you open a chest and you pick left or right. Like you pick left or right for like this type of like armor, or this type of armor, or this type of upgrade, or this kind of upgrade, and then you go through a door and then you fight another set of people. It's fun. It's familiar, but it's not really for me. I'll try it a few more times, but it's not something I'm really a huge fan of, just because I'm already like, if you like games like Hades. It's very similar in the sense of moving on different doors or different things that you need to unlock eventually, upgrading throughout, and if you die you start all over with pretty much nothing, but you do get like some sort of coin to be able to purchase certain stuff.
Do you know if it changes every time you die, like Hades?
I do want to say yes. Like the first area doesn't really, but I want to say the second level was different. The third or fourth time I went in.
Okay. Damn,
like the second area after, because the first area is kind of like always kind of the same.
Yeah.
But yeah. Actually, it does change because I didn't fight the same enemies when I went through the second door the second time.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm down to check that out for sure.
Yeah, I think you might like it because you like Hades and stuff like that. I'm not a rogue-like person. I don't like starting over. I mean, I'll do that if that's the only way to game anymore, but I feel like that was kind of my jam back when that's what I had to deal with in the 90s and early 2000s. But as we've progressed, I'm like, I want to spend time in something. But here's one cool thing that they do have in the God of War Ragnarok Valhalla piece is they do have the whole save. They have the ability to save it at like a checkpoint.
Ooh.
Like you can suspend your game there if you need to leave.
Okay.
But it's not something that you can like pick up your save from if you die later. Like if you die, then that save that you had is gone.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I get that.
But yeah, if you're in the middle of it and you're just like, oh, that was a lot. I kind of want to take a break for right now. That last round was a lot. I want to take a break. You can go to that the fountain or whatever it's called and just suspend the game there. You can buy your health or rage there as well. So it's definitely interesting. Like I said, I didn't play it and say, oh man, I'm gonna delete it. I just know it's not really that much for me, but I'm willing to give it another shot. I kept it downloaded now. So
yeah.
So I thought it was interesting enough to be like, I'll give it a few more tries. Maybe I don't know. Like if I really want to go through it and see it all, maybe I'll lower the difficulty and try to just run through it real quick. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not. I don't feel obligated.
Oh yeah,
for that.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of these things that I'm playing right now, I feel obligated to. So let's talk about some of the other stuff that I've been playing. Let me go ahead and move off of that because I feel like I'm giving like a whole ass review. So been playing a little bit of the finals with you and Mike.
Yes,
that's been a good time. I really want to get to play some more of that.
Absolutely. Let me know.
So you guys let me know because you guys are the ones that get started or whatnot. I don't ever know what's going on.
I'm down to play that literally whenever I can play that with people. So I'm good. I'm set.
Let's see. Been playing some 2K also with you.
Oh, that's been terrible. That's been terrible the last few times. That has been.
I picked up Hogwarts last night, just randomly again.
Oh, I thought you picked it up again, like as in
no, I didn't purchase it. No, I didn't purchase it. I'd never even purchased that game. Vinny purchased it, and I just share with him on PlayStation. Okay. And so, but I should purchase that game on Xbox, but I don't know. I really like the save and where I'm at.
Sure.
On the PlayStation and whatnot, and it's a really good game, and I even went back just to play, just screwing around, and I felt stupid because I forgot all the buttons. Same with God of War, I forgot. Like everything, right? And
Yeah.
man, I still got clips of me just going bananas in both Hogwarts and God of War, and I picked it up. I picked both of those games last night, and man, I felt like a rusty old geezer. Like I didn't know what was going. I kept hitting the wrong button. I'd start hitting square to attack for God of War, and I'm like, what? This is it's supposed to be the
Yeah.
the bumper and trigger.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I was messing up. But I've been enjoying that and RoboCop. I gotta end it with that. I've been ending my nights when I want to slow down on RoboCop.
That's RoboCop is so good. Speaking of RoboCop, it's kind of news, but it's not like a big topic we're gonna be talking about. They did announce New Game Plus. Well, they're working on New Game Plus for RoboCop. They announced that. Which, if that's the case, I have no problem playing that again.
Here's something I gotta reveal to you.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of New Game Pluses.
Oh, I love it.
New Game Pluses are cool if there's a reason to do a New Game Plus. Like New Game Plus for me in Scarlet Nexus made a lot of sense because I played as one character, then I get to go as the other character, and I already have all this like XP and stuff like that saved up.
Yeah.
Right. Same with Starfield. So I go to a New Game Plus, and it's like I'm replaying a totally different game and making a totally different decisions and everything like that.
Yeah.
But New Game Plus in like a Spider-Man or a New Game Plus in a game like RoboCop to me, or even like a Forspoken or anything that the story's going to be like the same,
Sure.
isn't interesting to me.
See, okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. I can't argue, but like, I'm interested in it because, like, for RoboCop specifically, stuff like there was a game I was literally just thinking about. You were talking about PlayStation on the games you were playing. Last of Us, the remake of Last of Us, where it's like you beat the game. The story's a story. It's not going to change no matter what. But once you beat that game, you go to New Game Plus. You can have. I mean, you can mess with the difficulty, whether it's New Game Plus or not. But you can also start the game with like an assault rifle. Like all the weapons you had at the end of that game, you have now at the beginning of the game, and you get to do all those encounters with enemies again with those weapons, which is cool. But for something like RoboCop,
I get that.
it's like you have like abilities in RoboCop, or like these it's like a skill tree.
Yeah, it's like a skill tree. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's certain things I specifically remember multiple times in that game where like I needed a certain ability to open a door or to like just like perception or something to like move something out of the way. And it's like I want to see what's behind those doors. I want to just run through that game again powerful as fuck. Just like a tank with like tons of health and like basically unstoppable. Stuff like for New Game pluses like that, where there's like a skill tree, and I'm taking skills I got from my first playthrough and bringing them into the second playthrough, and I get to build on those skills. I enjoy that. So I'm definitely down for New Game Plus for that. But yeah, I get what you mean though. Like, there's definitely like I'm not interested in doing New Game Plus on Last of Us because I want to experience the story again. Like I don't care. Like I've already experienced the story. The story's a story. It's not going to change. But like the gameplay and the encounters, that shit changes for games like that. And I'm really interested in that. Vort says, so you want to turn RoboCop into the term basically turn RoboCop into a Terminator. And speaking of Terminator, dude, I've been playing some of that. I've gotten back into that pretty hard, and that game is wild. Like they really do a good job making you kind of afraid of those Terminators. Like I went into that game thinking I would be just going into fights with Terminators and just obliterating. They make you feel like you will get fucking destroyed in a second. if you think about approaching one of them the wrong way. But yeah, that game's awesome. As for shit I've been playing, I mean, God, Mad Max. I'm trying to stick to one game at a time right now. And Mad Max seemingly is that game. I've been really enjoying that. I beat Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. And I want to play that again on Xbox as well. But right now it's Mad Max. And that game is fantastic. But I think we can get into some actual topics. And we also, there's not a ton of news this week, like a ton of it. So there's also some stuff like I asked Mike last week, and I'm going to be asking those questions to you as well later in the show. But first of all, I feel like we should probably talk a little bit about the Switch 2 because there's a bunch of stuff that came out today about the possibility of it coming in 2024. And it's supposedly an iteration as opposed to an iteration to the current hardware design rather than a revolution. And I wanted to ask you first, what do you think that means? An iteration to the current hardware design rather than a revolution for the Switch 2 or the Switch successor.
What do I think of it so far?
What do you think what do you think they mean by saying that the Switch successor will be an iteration of the current hardware design rather than a revolution?
They believe in what they got.
That's true.
I mean, it's that simple. Up? I mean, to me, it's that simple. I mean, they're like, oh, this type of chair works. Mm-hmm. Let's make a new improved version of this exact same type of model and make it beefier and able to withstand time a little longer. Maybe the battery life will be better with, 1080p.
So. Yeah, I hope
as
so.
as like the minimum spec for it now. I mean, we're seeing the and see, this is what kind of makes me a little nervous, is that they said it's only gonna, like the leaks, so-called, say.
Yes.
That because gotta keep in mind these are leaks, not actual.
Mm-hmm.
Confirmed
Nintendo
fact.
Saying this.
That it's only going to be $100 more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be kind of the same but more powerful. And what's $100 more? Just $400 then?
$400 is that's what they're calling it.
But see, that doesn't make any sense to me because the OLED is $350.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then on top of that, you're talking about stronger hardware when we have things like the ROG Ally. Sure, it goes up to 120, and I don't think the next Switch is going to do that.
No.
I think 60 will be still the target mark, and then some 30s still for certain games that can't deal with all of that. But because I don't think 30 I mean, we see it in the PS5 and this Series X. If we're getting 30 FPS there, it's still going to be some 30 FPS games on the Switch too. 30 FPS ain't going nowhere forever. Yeah. But it's just thinking of better specs. I'm just like, man, how are they going to pack this kind of a punch with something like 1080 60 for $400? You see what I'm saying? Because it's a whole like for the Steam Deck, that thing is 800p, right?
Mm-hmm.
800p, and for the low end model, it's what, like, I want to say it's like $400, $500.
It's 400. I think I'll check that, but I'm pretty sure it's 400. I think they messed with the prices recently with the introduction of the OLED.
But the Steam Deck has quite a bit in it that's pretty cool. but you can't take the controllers off with a Steam Deck, right? There's no detachable pieces like that. Anything like that, you'd have to buy separately. There's no dock with the Steam Deck that comes with it, like there is with the Switch, and it's not even close to 1080p. 800.
Yeah, so I'm looking at these prices now for the Steam Deck, and I'm okay. So 64 gigabytes, the base model, 64 gigabytes. That's the no SSD, just 64 gigabytes of regular ass storage. Is $350. $399 for
Went down a little
250.
bit.
Yeah, $399 for 256. That's the one I got. That's the SSD.
Yeah, that's the one I got too. That went down because that used to be 500.
Yeah, and then $449 for 512. That's, I'll tell you,
That's a great deal.
That is, and I don't know what we got to see what the Switch 2 is doing, because I look at those prices because that surprised me. I didn't expect those to be that low.
I didn't either.
Like,
so that's telling me that I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's telling me things are going down.
Yeah, like
things are going down for quality, but still, I still wonder about that $400 price point when the OLED is $350 right now. I would almost think that it'd be maybe $450 at a minimum. If we're talking about, you know, maybe it's like $450 for like a regular model and like $500 for an OLED or something like that. I don't know.
I'm thinking, do you think they don't have an OLED on this? Do you think an OLED comes later?
I'm thinking the OLED comes later by the way that this looks, because it seems like a way to be able to resell it.
Yeah.
The same thing again, kind of like Steam Deck did.
Mm-hmm.
There's some upgrades with it, which is more to say than what Switch did with their OLED. All they gave you was a network adapter and an OLED screen. That's it. So, I mean, Steam Deck gave you a little bit more. They give you a little bit more performance, better screen, yada yada. But
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just the speculation around it's fun. Yeah. It really is. The speculation around Nintendo's fun because they rarely miss. And from what it looks like, they are setting themselves up for like a very easy target to smash.
Yeah. I mean, it would be surprising if the Switch successor isn't wildly successful, like right off the bat. I'd be very surprised to see that. Vort says they're gonna have to make it a thick boy. Yeah, like that's. I get confused looking at like the price for the Steam Deck here, or these prices, and it's like for the same price. If we're talking $400 for the same price, you can get a 256 gigabyte Steam Deck, and it's like, hell, for $50 more, get a 512 gigabyte Steam Deck, and you have 60 FPS. And also, here's what Nintendo doesn't want you to know: you can play all those Nintendo games on your Switch, on your Steam Deck. So it's like, I mean, and you can kind of do it guilt-free if you're gonna just buy all the games, you know, legally, and then port them to your, like, I don't know. It's looking at it from my perspective right now, it's like it's a little bit of a dumb move or confusing move. I wouldn't say dumb, but confusing. But at the same time, once this comes out, it's gonna sell millions and millions of units right off the bat, and it's not gonna be dumb. It's, as far as Nintendo's concerned, it's not gonna be dumb for them. It's gonna be a huge moneymaker, and it's gonna be wildly successful. And whenever they give me Metroid Prime 4, I will happily buy one. I will definitely happily buy one. But until then, I think I'm all set. And that's another question for you. Are you day one on the next Switch? On the Switch successor?
I feel like I'm more of a day 2 on that, just depending on like whatever kind of lineup that they have maybe coming to it. Like to me, they have to announce something that's like interesting to me to feel the need to, okay, I'm going out to get a Switch 2 now. And it also like another thing I'm considering is my library. How will they take advantage or not take advantage of like my current online library? Am I going to be able to play Tears of the Kingdom because I have that digitally?
Same. Yeah.
You know, am I going to be able to play my Mario games over there that I already purchased? I'd assume so, especially if they're just making a similar, more powerful successor. I'd assume so, right? But are they gonna do some sort of weird? You need to pay this fee to upgrade it to run these specs, or are they gonna do a crazy fee of, hey, if you want to be able to play this on this device, you need to yada yada, or like it just really depends on how much they are catering to me as a customer to want to then upgrade. If they're telling me, you know, this is the successor, but rebuy everything, it's kind of like, why are you taking this approach? And I know why, but I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, like give me a break, please. Like, I mean, it's gonna the thing with Nintendo is like you don't need to do that, and like you said, we all know why they would do that, but you don't need to because you're gonna make stupid money off of this. Like, like it's gonna be difficult. I mean, sure they could make another Wii U thing, and it could be terrible, but it's so wildly unlikely now that they have the blueprint that they have. It's so wildly unlikely that happens again. Mike, appreciate you for stopping by, but what's going on? But I mean, like I look at the next Nintendo, like I always say, Metroid Prime 4. I need Metroid Prime 4. If you give me that's the only game I need. That's literally it. And here's the thing: if they give me Metroid Prime 4, I'll be a part of the problem. I will definitely be a part of the problem. I'll be like, they'll be like, oh, you gotta buy Tears of the Kingdom again. I might buy Tears of the Kingdom again. I might. If you give me Metroid Prime 4. But right now it doesn't look like they're gonna be giving me Metroid Prime 4 anytime soon. So that's just that's just all cope for me, honestly. But yeah, I don't, like I said, unless they give me that, I'm not day one for the next Switch. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom's great, and I'm sure you'll probably be able to play it in 60 FPS, but that's not enough for me to go out and buy a $400 Nintendo day one. I can't be doing that for just that reason. But moving on from the Nintendo Switch 2 or the Switch successor, let's talk a little bit about Starfield. Because Starfield has certainly been in the news for many reasons. But I mean,
many weeks.
For many weeks at this point. And this week, it's because Starfield won Most Innovative Gameplay award from Steam. Now, I've seen like multiple things on this. I've seen people say it was like a troll vote. Like, Mike in the chat says, thinks he's going to start streaming on his YouTube channel, see how it goes. Go for it, Mike. Yeah, stream on your YouTube, man. YouTube's just more fun. It's more fun, bud. But, yeah, I've seen people say that the vote was like a troll vote. People were like trolling, oh, it's got the most innovative gameplay. Now, I guess I'm going to ask your thoughts on that first before I give any of my thoughts. But what are your thoughts on Starfield winning most innovative gameplay from Steam?
I think it is. I mean, a lot of people are asking like, what's so innovative about it, and I guess it kind of is up to like in my opinion, it is in the sense of like I don't know what other game I'm able to board somebody else's ship, right? And even if you could do that in a game, not like Starfield does it,
Yeah.
right? There's in my opinion, there's a lot of that type of stuff. Like I can literally, I can run up on a ship, start trying to like murder people on that ship, right? Or not trying, murdering people on the ship.
Successfully murdering people on the ship, yeah.
And I don't know if you've had it happen, but I've had a moment where I was in the middle of shooting and then it went into a like momentary load screen for like 2 seconds and then came out of a load screen. And when I went into the cockpit area to shoot, we were in space, and I was like,
Yes.
"Yo, like,
Yeah.
y'all just took me from my ship.
You took me clean off the planet. You took me clean off the planet.
It took me clean off the planet, and this has happened to me multiple times.
Yes. Yeah.
In the game, so I know that it's like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like when that happened, I was just like, I've never had that happen to me on a video game before.
Yeah.
Right?
First time that happened, I panicked because I'm like, how do I get back to my ship? I'm just like, what the fuck do I do? Oh, you just take this ship. This is now your ship now.
Yep, exactly.
Like, yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, there has been things that happen, like in some like the random occurrences. Sure, there's random occurrences in other games, but in the middle of space, there usually isn't. Somebody hailing you to talk about your car, your ship warranty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people hailing you to ask you if you know where your anus is.
Yeah.
Like, and sure, like anybody's gonna grab and say, you know, this is similar to this, but in all actuality, to me, there's very few like new ideas that's never even been touched by anything whatsoever. So like more or less we choose the thing that we've maybe seen but is drastically different. And usually that's what's called innovative, right? When a new tire comes out that grips the road better, or a tire that can drive on ice. I mean, I don't know where you're getting that tire, but I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing. It's still a tire, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's innovative. It's new feeling. It does something a different type of way than the traditional way. People hear innovative and think immediately that it has to be something that no one's ever thought of before. Right? Yeah. When you get fusion restaurants that mix, you know, Mexican food with like Thai or something like that, those are two things that existed already.
Yeah.
Just the way that you're using it is innovative. And I think a lot of people forget that.
That's not a bad point. And I like that point because for me, like Starfield, like people look at Starfield and they go, okay, well, it feels a lot like Fallout in space. And I can agree with that, but the problem is when you put Fallout in space and give it the scale that Starfield has, that's kind of when it becomes sort of innovative.
I disagree with that because I'm not a fan of Fallout that big of much or that much.
See, I agree with it because it's like, okay, Fallout, you get a quest, you go point A to point B for that quest. Starfield, you get a quest, you go point A to point B for that quest, but it's in a much bigger scale. You're also getting way different quests because instead of it being focused on one planet, now you're focused on multiple planets, space, like it's innovative. It innovates Bethesda's gameplay loop is what it does. And I feel like that's where the innovation. Also, the fact Vinny pointed this out, and he kind of said it better than I would have said it too. But he basically said that like the innovation in Starfield, whether you care about the gameplay or not, or you think it's innovative or not, the real innovation is the new game plus. I'd have to agree with him because I don't know a game that does New Game Plus the way Starfield does New Game Plus. Maybe there is one, but I don't know what it is. Starfield's New Game Plus is like, I remember before it launched, people were making, like, Greg Miller was making a huge deal out of the New Game Plus. And he was going nuts for it. He played it like, say, played it like 10 times. And you play it and you're like, okay, what's going to happen with this New Game Plus? And once you play it like once, twice, 3 times, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I get it. I get why this is a big idea or a big deal. Vort in the chat said we should rate all the games on the Steam Awards. This is one I want to throw at you real quick because we're talking about Starfield and we're going to get back to Starfield. But this one I thought was so stupid. This Labor of Love award. And the winner is Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, how? How does that win Labor of Love in 2023? This shit came out in 2018. I don't know how that wins Labor of Love, but I mean, best game on Steam Deck award is Hogwarts. Hogwarts finally wins an award, and it's the best game on Steam Deck. Of all the awards that Hogwarts could have won, it's the best game on Steam Deck award. Which, you know,
that's tragic.
I feel like it could have won some other awards, but you know, whatever. Better with Friends award is Lethal Company. I haven't played Lethal Company. I know Vort's a fan of that. Vort's always asking for me and Mike to play that. We'll have to look into that. Outstanding Visual Style Award. Atomic Heart wins the Outstanding Visual Style Award. Most innovative gameplay is Starfield, like we've been saying. The best game you suck at award is Sifu. I probably would suck at that. Best soundtrack award is Last of Us Part 1, which seems... I mean, it's got a good soundtrack. It just seems random. Story Rich Game Award is Baldur's Gate 3. Sit Back and Relax Award, it's Dave the Diver. And then the Game of the Year, obviously, is Baldur's Gate 3. Mike says you have the game. I think we'd have fun at least for a while. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. I believe it's probably on sale. I can probably grab it for cheap. But, I mean, God, Starfield winning most innovative gameplay has people are like beside themselves on Twitter.
People are besides themselves regardless of anything that has to do with Starfield. It doesn't matter if it's an award, if it's just general news, just like, oh, there's an update. It's no matter what it says. You know what they should do? Turn off the comments. I'm just kidding.
Oh God, yeah, the fans would love that. The fans would really love that. But yeah, like it's funny because it's always something with Starfield. Like this week, it's them winning the most innovative gameplay award. Like last week, it was the fact that it's mostly the most recent reviews were like mostly negative on Steam. It's like, well, I mean, I can tell you why it's mostly negative. It's because they came out and they were commenting on people's negative reviews for the game. And God forbid you do that to PC players. They just get this. They get like a bug up their ass about like you can't tell me I'm wrong. And then
they did that kind of to themselves.
They did.
You don't describe a game to somebody that has a complaint about something in particular.
Yes.
Like
and
that's not an answer to the problem. That is just saying that shut up and play.
Exactly. And that's you said it. They did that to themselves. But like people make this big deal of like, oh, mostly negative on Steam. It's like, well, that's why it's mostly negative. Like it was totally fine before they did that. And then once they did that, the Steam community was like, "Oh, so that's how it is." Well, fuck your game. Like and it's people who might not even dislike the game, but they dislike the way Bethesda handled that shit. Like they'll spend 1,000 hours in the game and leave a negative review because you did some shit that I don't agree with. And it's like, well, that's kind of the price you pay, unfortunately, for replying to people's negative comments in that way. But regardless, Starfield seems to be. I mean, it's got to be the most talked about game this year. I mean, you could maybe argue Baldur's Gate 3, Hogwarts is definitely very talked about for all the right and wrong reasons. So like, I mean, regardless of how people feel about it, it's in the zeitgeist. It's definitely in the zeitgeist, and people have very strong opinions on it either way. And I guess I mean, hey, you call it a success. You can definitely call that game a success because it's got people talking. It's definitely got people talking. But oh, dude, I don't think it's ever gonna stop. People, dude, because when this game came out, the expectation with a game like Starfield is like it's a game of the generation, and then when the game came out, it was like, oh, it can't be game of the generation. It's only like an 84 or whatever on Metacritic or whatever shit it was. And it's like, dude, that's not the point. that's not the point. Where it's just like we'll see how people feel about this game in 10 years. Like, see how people look back on this game in 10 years versus something like what else came out this year. Like, I think Baldur's Gate 3 will be fine in 10 years. It'll have its following. But like, I don't know, Spider-Man 2.
Well,
even Alan Wake 2. Even Alan Wake 2.
So, where I was going to kind of throw on with that is, how was the reception for Skyrim when it initially came out? It was pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
What were some issues with it? Do you remember?
Issues with it? See, looking back for me personally, I mean, looking back like objectively, performance was a big issue on Xbox and PS3. I don't know about PC because I didn't care about PC back then. But like that was also at a time where like I didn't know any better. I got a game and I played it and it was fun, so I kept playing it. And then looking back on it, you're like, wow, this performed like shit. This was kind of embarrassing.
Okay.
But yeah, like that was the big complaint was like, okay, this game is good, but it's seemingly broken in a lot of ways.
So where I'm kind of going with this is the performance was on the more fair side on its line. Yeah. Performed really well for the Series S. Series X performed pretty well for PC, performed fairly well. There was some issues with it a little bit, especially when you're in, like Jameson, like main cities, Aquila, and stuff like that. But a lot of people's complaint, in my opinion, like to the people that were like honest about it, were like three main things to me. Like vehicles and just all around kind of like map functionality. Or actually I'll say four. So those that one, and then load time or load screens.
Yeah.
Yep. What was the third one I was going to say? I had all four of them thought up, and then of course as I'm talking I start to forget some. Yeah, what was another one? Content. So just like some people thought it wasn't enough content, which is wild because Most people said that after like 50 to 100 plus hours, right? Which is a lot more than you get with than a lot of different games. And I'm just gonna throw the last one out. Like I don't really remember what would be like a last one, but this game isn't exactly what a lot of people think it is, and they forget what they're comparing it to. A lot of people say this reminds me of like, what would you say, or like a Skyrim in space or something like that. Skyrim got content over time. How about Hello Games with whatchamacallit, No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
That game rolled out horribly. Much worse than what Starfield rolled out with.
Oh, way
worse.
Yeah.
Way worse. But content over time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And of course, a lot of fixes for that game to make it run properly. Now, Starfield, you look at it, they've acknowledged some of the things and said, hey, we're going to be upgrading this game. And they've said it multiple times that they want this to last as long as like Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
People look at Starfield and think it's a shot of liquor that you just, or not even that, just like a regular beer. They look at it like a regular beer, like, oh, I take it and I just drink it and it's done, and that's it. But in all actuality, it's like, yo, you made this, or not that you made it, but you got this wine and it needs to age. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what Starfield kind of is. And that's what Bethesda games really are. You can't tell me any Bethesda game that came out in the last like 10, maybe 15 years that didn't continuously get updates and get better.
Yeah.
Over time. Even look at Fallout 76, which was horrible on release, is now being trophied by people in the community.
Yeah, it's a wild success now.
So just imagine something that came out like Starfield, and some people think it came out bare. I think it came out phenomenal. I had a great time with the game, and I'm still having a great time with the game. Yeah. At this point, I probably play it like twice a week at least.
Yeah.
Kick it on, go take down a couple bases, level up a little bit, play something else. But yeah, I mean, people are expecting something to happen tomorrow when it's like, yo, if they said they're gonna treat this game anything like Skyrim, then I don't know why you're in such a rush. I mean, it's only been a couple months since the game came out. People have crazy amount of hours. You probably haven't even done everything that you can do in the game, but you're looking for more content. Like that's another thing that's like wild to me is like the game offers a ton. You're mad because you ran out of stuff to do because you want to just do that specific thing. When the game offers a lot.
That's true. That's definitely true. And like, I mean, I was talking to you the other day. Like I forget what you were saying, but you were talking about a companion that I'd never even met. I never even met this companion. You're like, oh, this is like my favorite companion. Well, haven't even met him. Like, I haven't done really anything on an entire planet, Neon. I haven't done like anything there besides main missions. I haven't done nothing there.
That was one of the complaints that I forgot was romance. That was the fourth one that I wanted to bring up. Was romance, and I was talking to you the other day because I was mad that I couldn't romance this specific person because I was like, man, like if I could romance somebody, this would be the person. Even though Imogene, I think, is like the dopest. Like she's like the dopest, attractive wise, and like kind of the way she carries herself. But like, as for somebody like I'd want on my team that's fun and wild, but still pretty grounded. Old girl, old girl from the gang is all I'm gonna say. That's
Yeah.
that's who I'd like.
Yeah. See, and I definitely agree with that because if I could romance anybody in the game, it would be the chick who I forget the chick's name, but like when you go to the Red Mile and she's really bitchy to you, like the first 10 minutes of meeting, she's super bitchy to you, and then you run the Red Mile, and then she's like super nice to you, like really nice. I'm like, oh, she's actually pretty cool. I'm like, I would definitely choose her. I mean, but yeah, that's one of those things. But then again, there's got to be mods for it. But at the same time, that's one of those things. It's cool. There's mods for it, but it would be really cool if Bethesda just let you do that out of the box. That'd be a lot cooler. Vort says, "Why'd I turn into a playlist?" That's my fault. I was closing down YouTube Music, and it brought up my playlist instead of our cameras for a second. But yeah, I mean, God, we'll see what the news around Starfield is next week. I'm sure it'll be something. But as for other news, I mean, it's been a really light. I mean, the holidays just happened. It's been very light news wise. There's the news that Star Wars Outlaws is going to be arriving late this year, but we don't really know any other than late this year. It's late 2024. It's all we really know. But we're not going to be focusing so much on news for the rest of the show because last week I had Mike on while you were out for the holidays, and I asked Mike a few questions, and I wanted to ask those questions to you as well. But I also want to do like report cards for the platforms this year because I mean I saw a few websites do this, and I figured it'd be a pretty good idea to do it on the podcast. Now I'm gonna ask for Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. What do you grade each of those and why? But first, we're gonna start with not Xbox. We're gonna start with Nintendo. What do you grade Nintendo for this year as a platform? And let me be clear. I mean for you specific, because like
I wasn't gonna do it for the crowd. I don't give a damn about what they have to say.
Because Nintendo's like, if that's the case, then if that's the case, then Nintendo's always an A because they always succeed no matter what and perpetually forever. So like, just for you.
Yeah. No, for me, I give Nintendo a B plus. I really do. Because they came out with two, actually, or kind of three, of their like main like characters.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda, Dash Link.
Yeah.
Mario. And Samus.
Oh yeah, I still need to beat Metroid Prime Remastered. I might play that tonight. Yeah.
And they've been just kind of keeping up with ease, and it's inspiring to watch, especially when they're not your favorite platform, but it's like, man, you got to respect that.
Oh yeah.
So I give them a B plus. They didn't completely blow me away, but they definitely made me be like, yep, that's why you're LeBron, so yeah. But next one, what's the next one you want me to do?
We'll go PlayStation. We'll save Xbox for last. We'll go PlayStation next.
I'm gonna give PlayStation a C minus.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a C minus. They only had one good game that kept them away from a D.
Oh yeah.
That kept them away from a D, and like they had a pretty rough showcase. They had a lot of turmoil. within their company. they didn't really set expectations for the customer to be excited. They had more hardware than games. They also had more TV shows than games come out this year. With and I mean, maybe it might be tied if you want to include like VR, but if you're tying TV shows, something ain't right.
True.
To me, if you're tying the amount of TV shows, something ain't right.
Yeah.
And I include the movies too. So Gran Turismo, which was a phenomenal movie. I've seen it. It was a really good movie.
Oh, nice.
Twisted Metal, I enjoyed that show. And Last of Us, another show that I enjoyed. I didn't think it was as great as a lot of people led on to it to be, but I thought it was a pretty good show that I could understand because I played the game.
Yeah.
But as for their game, I only got Spider-Man out of them this year, first party wise.
Yep.
And Jim's gone, and I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a C- for PlayStation.
Yeah.
What do you give?
And I feel like that's kind of generous.
As I just tell you, wait till you see what I give them. Yeah. How do you feel about Xbox for the final one?
Well, let me back up on that PlayStation one. I gave it a C- because the Gran Turismo with VR looks amazing.
Sure, yeah.
The VR by itself is a pretty dope piece of hardware.
It's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why. I mean, if they didn't have that, and they didn't also have Spider-Man, they would have got an F. Yeah. But since the hardware was so good, and I had a really good time with Spider-Man, I'll give them those two because at least they gave me some reason to smile at some point. It didn't completely, just like throw me in the gutter. I've had some years for Xbox where it's like, oh my god, D- or an F. Like so like, oh man, 2022 was a D. Yeah. It was just a D.
2017 was also pretty shit for Xbox, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's a few years for Xbox that were not.
Well, actually, good. I take that back. It's a D plus. Last year was a D plus because they did have some good Game Pass games. I'll give them that.
Oh yeah, they had some great games on Game Pass last year. Definitely.
But now, last one, Xbox.
Yeah.
B-.
That's fair. That's fair. How do you feel? What do you justify that with?
I'm justifying that with a little bit of overhype, I think, in the sense of game of generation off the back with Starfield. Just a little bit. I think I still thought it was a 90 plus game in my opinion. I still gave it a 9 out of 10. But as for like everybody and their mamas type of game, didn't hit for that. It's not everybody and their mamas kind of game. It just isn't.
Yeah.
Just isn't. It's a pretty complex game when you get into it. And definitely. I wouldn't expect every single person to just turn it on. It's not Spider-Man. You're not going to turn it on, figure it out in 15 minutes. These are the buttons, and that's pretty much the gist of it. You can get more... Like Spider-Man's one of those games that's easy to play, kind of tough to master. I guess. But Starfield's just like, it's kind of a lot just in general, and it just doesn't stop there. It's just a lot, and then it gets even deeper and deeper and deeper. So like so yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. There's all the crafting and stuff. I haven't even really got into the crafting that much in the game.
Crafting, building outposts, resource man, like yeah.
There's a lot. It's a lot. So I could see why some people were like, I thought this was going to be for everybody, and it's kind of not for me. So like, I can understand that. Redfall. Fuck's sake.
I'm glad you said that. Glad we didn't forget about
sake.
Redfall. Because that shit, listen, people talk about Starfield being overhyped. Redfall was, and it wasn't hyped to the extent of Starfield, obviously, because it's just not even in the same fucking category, even if Redfall was a good game. But dude, the way they hyped, they first showed Redfall by ending their showcase with Redfall. Like that was the end of the show. That was like the big thing. And that sets an expectation of like, okay, this game's gonna be legit. It's Arcane. They're ending the show with it. They're confident in this. Right. So, and then the marketing for the game, it became kind of like how we kept seeing Deathloop all the fucking time. It was basically the same shit with Redfall. All the fucking time you see Redfall. And you're like, okay, well, if they're showing me it this much, then goddamn, this shit must be incredible. They must be really excited about this. And then you play it, and it's just like, what the fuck happened? What even just happened? It's baffling. So go on about it. Go on about it.
Yeah, Redfall was. I don't think people really understand how bad Redfall really was. Like looking back on it, the further away from Redfall's launch I get, the worse it is to me. Because at first when it came out, it was like, let me try to have some fun. Oh, I'm kind of having fun. Oh, it's not that bad. And then like, you're playing on PC and you're like, oh, this is pretty bad. Yeah, I can't play this on this anymore. I have to play it on console. And it's not even at the requirements that they told me that it was going to be on the console. So then your experience is kind of crappy there as well. And just the environment's not the best. And, things aren't working properly at all. And multiplayer, the game's constantly crashing. And it was just bad. It was just like really bad. And sure, they went on ahead and fixed some things about it. Which it's good that they care enough to do so. Because I think if they just flat out dropped this game, nobody would blame them.
Oh no.
But like,
it's the expectation almost is you just drop this game, forget it happened.
Right. So I'm happy that they stuck to their guns on it and decided to, try to make something of it. But it's still like, even to this day, it's better, but it's not perfect yet either. No. It's still not great.
No.
To this day. So like, it's like still feeling it. Yeah, that definitely was a whole letter and a half grade, probably.
Yeah.
Right there, just alone. Something that didn't really quite help the grade either. Almost made me bump it down to a C+, but not quite. Is kind of the rollout of Forza Motorsports. Oh. It was like a big fumble all the way to the launch of it. You weren't sure what you're getting with this. They weren't even sure when they were going to come out with it when they had the developer direct. They like it was so just uncertain. You're not going to get this mode until later. These fixes aren't going to be available until after the game's already out. So I in my opinion, they kind of like, for a game that we would think, turn 10 doesn't miss, right? Mm-hmm. This was the closest to a miss I've seen them have.
Yeah, I see that sentiment a lot on. I see people a lot bring up Forza Motorsport as like, one of the biggest disappointments this year. It's like, thing is, I enjoy it, but there's a lot, like what you just said, there's a lot from that game that, like, if you played the previous Forza games at launch, it's just missing. They're like, oh, we'll add it later. It's like, yeah, you can add it later, but it still looks bad. Still
Well,
bad.
they even added stuff later to the previous one before.
Sure.
So it wasn't just that. It was also like, what they showed versus kind of what we got. I think there was a little bit of downgrade to Forza compared to what I seen in the 4K 60 trailer of them telling us that this is the actual game. Compared to what we kind of got, I felt like at least for the Series X, not the PC, but maybe the Series X, it was kind of overplayed a little bit. Because I go back and I watch that trailer and then I play the game, I'm like, looks a little different.
Yeah, a little bit of a downgrade. A little bit of a downgrade there, for sure. And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I'm Forza's a game as much as I played it and still play it, I still play a good amount of it. I kind of forget how, like, going back and looking at those trailers. I have to do it again, but I haven't seen those trailers in a minute. But yeah, I remember the sentiment being like, yeah, there was a downgrade for Forza Motorsport. And I mean, from my recollection of the trailers, I can definitely imagine that's the case. But I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about for Xbox before I give my
the positives, of course. Like, I definitely want to bring up the positives because I just got done beating the hell out of it, right? So, the positives for it, Hi-Fi Rush as a surprise. Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Great game. The developer direct just being there after the no show that they had at the Game Awards, that was a great way to introduce us into the year. And then speaking of the developer direct, the amount of different showcases that they had throughout the year to remind you how much they have the ball rolling was pretty insane. Seeing the energy from Phil and stuff like that. The resurgence of Halo after firing that many people.
Yeah.
Was very, very interesting. Shout out to the people that, worked on it and then their contract was up and they had to go. Or, the people that did what they could. Because, I mean, I'm assuming that when they got let go, they were done with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't just let them go and then the people left there figured everything out. Like, I'm sure that they had, like, because they said they were overstaffed or something like that there. So, yeah, I mean, congratulations to Halo and all the people that worked on it, whether they're there or not still. I thought that resurgence was beautiful. Also, let's see, another thing, Game Pass has been, without question, the greatest service in gaming still all this year.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up. Oh, yeah, duh. Activision Blizzard acquiring, the biggest acquisition in history. That thing. And then on top of it, right at the end of the year, just to let you know, Merry Christmas. See you later, Bobby Kotick.
Right.
Like,
to cap the year off.
Just that whole situation. Rising. It felt like a year for Xbox. Maybe not the year to go up in a different pole position. It wasn't one of those kind of years, but it was the year of, I understand what's going on now and I'm taking care of business. It was like, the boots are on, hands are dirty, hair's fucked up, but you see it like you see the project behind the glass that he's been working on, and you're just like, yo, that thing looks
Yeah.
that thing looks pretty beefy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm just it was a year of like kind of winding up the Jack in the Box, and then like we're just kind of waiting this year now for it to pop out the top, right? And just be like, bam, like more insane games, and like, yeah. So that's why they hung on so tight and didn't go down to a C plus and stayed at a B minus, because that hype keeps me thinking that this is in the B category still. The hype and the amount of content that they dropped, although that they had like a few crappy moments, they maintained composure. And I mean, bad moments, not just Redfall or Forza or, the hype around Starfield or anything like, not just that, but also taking an L from the UK.
Yeah.
And turning that whole ship around. Like, it was just, it was one of those like Sea of Thieves, like putting water in the bucket and throwing it out the fucking side of the goddamn ship situations. And somehow they patched it up and kept on sailing. And I mean, that's what's up.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Dude, the amount of times this year that we thought, oh, for sure this deal's going through, and then it shifted to, oh, this shit's for sure getting blocked, to, oh, this is going through for, like, because right before the UK thing happened, everybody, like, the report was UK is definitely going to approve this tomorrow. It's happening. Like, everybody was reporting that. And then when you wake up tomorrow, shit, I remember I made a video. Mike remembers this too, because Mike pointed it out to me the morning that my video released. I made a video before I went to bed that night, like already saying, yeah, the UK approved it and everything. I had the thumbnail done.
The video dropped, didn't it?
The video came out, and Mike was like, yo, you need to change that video. And I was like, oh, shit, because they denied it, and it was everywhere. And I was like, oh, my God. So I had to go make a whole new video. But, like, dude, there were so many times this year where we all thought that like, it was guaranteed, it was not guaranteed, it was dead, and then somehow they managed to pull it out. It's done. Bobby Kotick's out of there, and it ends on a great note. But for myself, just like you, starting with Nintendo, I played my Switch more this year than I played my Switch since I've had it. So I give them a flat B for that. I got Metroid Prime Remastered. It's not Metroid Prime 4, but you gave me Metroid Prime Remastered. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is very fun. I need to get back into playing that as well at some point. But like, you got me on my Switch more than I've been on my Switch ever before. So that's worth a B for me. So shout out to them for that. Now for PlayStation, God, man, I give them a flat D.
Damn.
Because, like, dude, we talked about, like, many people, not just us, but I've seen people talk about, like, this is like the worst year for PlayStation I can ever remember. And for me, this is the first year since I've been playing video games, like, since I've had a recollection of, like, oh, this game's coming out this year and this game's coming out next year. This is the first year I was not excited for PlayStation. That's never happened before. I was legit not excited. That's not to say I didn't think, like, I
trying
wasn't
to get me to change my grade. Stop
it. That's not to say I wasn't excited for Spider-Man, but it's like, dude, like, when that showcase came out and they ended the showcase with Spider-Man, I'm like, you really have nothing. you really got nothing because you ended the showcase with a game that we already know is going to be good. Like, you don't need to show us that game anymore. We already know. So you have nothing, and this was just the year of absolutely nothing for PlayStation, and I give them a D for that because I feel like I could go lower, like, but they did give me Spider Man, and that's worth something. So I gotta give them a D for that. But I mean, it's gonna be hard to score lower than that next year. Hopefully they can get things, or this year I should say. Hopefully they can get some things together and have a much better year than they did last year because last year was pretty terrible all around for PlayStation. Now on the Xbox, I give them all my score. Wow, all my scores are flat. I go flat B for Xbox because I finally got Starfield. I was been looking for that, looking forward to that since they showed it like in 2018, and finally got it. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Game Pass, much like 2022 when they really needed it, Game Pass crushed it this year. Atomic Heart in Game Pass was one of my favorite games of the year. They also just dropped new games coming to Game Pass this month. I don't know if you saw Valhalla, Assassin's Creed, which I still need to beat that game. God knows when that's gonna happen because that game's too damn big. Resident Evil 2, Close to the Sun looks interesting. We Happy Few comes to Game Pass. Did it leave Game Pass?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't even know that. That's wild.
Uh,
And then what's up?
I'm changing my score.
You're changing your score for what?
It's
Go
a
ahead.
D plus.
Oh, for
It's a
PlayStation.
D plus.
Oh no.
Yes, it can't be a C minus anymore, and I'm gonna tell you why in just 2 words.
Go for it.
And the reason I'm doing this is because I did this for Xbox, but it was a positive for them. They closed out the end of the year with Fire and Bobby Kotick. That was a positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation ended the year with an Insomniac leak.
Oh yeah, that's
And
not
that
good.
leak was fucking tragic.
It really was. It really was.
And I gotta remember, like, I mean, that plus the shutdown of factions. That, yeah, I'm sorry, I had to move down to a D plus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was really confident when I gave it a C minus, and then I just sat back and listened to you, and I was like, well, what else was there? And I was like, ah, shit, I forgot all about factions and Insomniac's leak. Like, lucky I don't go any lower.
See, that's why, like, I mean, it's all those things together that gets them the flat D. Just because, like, there's so many things, like from the showcase to, like, okay, well, we're getting another showcase, so it doesn't matter. You didn't get another showcase. To Insomniac having that one of the biggest leaks probably ever. Like, we know their fucking roadmap to 2035. Like, that's insane. And then you've also got, Jim Ryan halfway through the year saying he's stepping down, which to me, for some people say that's a bad thing, but for me, that's...
Man pulled his stocks out and said, I am out.
Yeah, and then he pulled out his stocks. Like, that can't inspire any level of confidence in what the company's doing going forward. That doesn't inspire any confidence from me. I know that much.
I think they'll be fine, but it's gonna.
Oh, they'll be fine. Yeah.
Like if they can weather the storm, they'll be fine. But the thing is that there's some question marks right now with them. Man, here's something else I didn't even think about. Getting sued.
Oh, yeah, because they're getting sued for a few things, right? I saw you guys
For
were
a
talking.
few things.
You guys were talking yesterday about third party. Was it third party
Controllers
controllers? Yeah, and then also they're getting sued for like their whole they have the monopoly, I guess they have, on their digital things, like where
for the digital PS5.
yeah, so like if I go to CD keys or something, I can get a digital Xbox game. You can't get that. You can't get a digital game for PlayStation. That shit
The
don't
only
exist.
digital games you can get from CD keys that are PlayStation ones are like resells from actual people that got like a digital code.
Yep. Like Sony does not distribute those to just for sale. They don't do that. So they're getting sued for that, and then on top of that, they're getting sued for the third party controller things. And was there another lawsuit? Not for PlayStation, but for Sony in general. There might have been another one for Sony in general. But yeah, Sony's had a rough year of it. A really rough year with that stuff. Let's see. Vort says bigger leaks than the Half Life 2 leaks. I don't remember the Half Life 2 leaks. I wasn't into Half Life at that time, way back then. So I don't know. I do know just that they were big. That's all I really know. But I don't know what those leaks were. But I can tell you the Insomniac leaks were basically we know what Insomniac is doing from now until 2035. That's the leaks. Like we know what they're doing. We also, I mean, we know multiple projects. We know they're doing Wolverine, X-Men. They had a Spider-Man online game in the works. That's apparently canceled. Yeah, it's not a. Vort says for Half-Life 2, a bunch of maps, entire source code. There wasn't source code leaked for Insomniac, so I guess that's a positive. You didn't get source code leaked. Although there is a fully playable build
Yeah,
of Wolverine of Wolverine available on PC, which is not good.
I might want to say that might be worse.
That could be considered worse, is having a fully playable build of your game that supposedly isn't releasing until 2026 out in the wild right now. So yeah, it's not good. It's just not good. PS5 blows in the chat. What's up? Appreciate you
Oh
for
my
stopping.
goodness.
Appreciate you for stopping by.
Slide through.
PS5 blows is a supporter of the channel. I love him. But yeah, I mean, so for Xbox, I gave them the B, and like I was saying, it's Starfield, it's Hi-Fi Rush being the surprise that it was completely out of nowhere. Was huge. Game Pass is a big reason. Activision finally going through is a big reason. Like you mentioned in yours, capping off the year with getting Bobby Kotick out of that fucking company, another huge reason. I feel like Xbox crushed. They had their best year probably in a few years. I'd say they had their best year this generation, and that's impressive considering how much of a fuck up Redfall was. Even with the fuck up of Redfall, they managed to salvage the year, not just a year, but just a pretty good year out of 2023, even with that screw up. So I give Xbox a B for the year for that. But also, I was asked, like I said, I mentioned some questions to Mike last week. I want to ask you this week. First of all, we're starting with 2023. I want your top 5 games that you played in 2023. Doesn't and you know what? Yeah, give them to me in order. Give them to me in order. I want you to go from 5 to 1.
5-1. All right. Oh man, I'm gonna mess up.
Okay. Okay, just give me the 5 games and then put them in the order you see fit at the end.
Oh man. All right. So shit. Let's see. So number. All right. So I won't put them in numbers yet, but I'll say Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
That was up there because that just kind of surprised the hell out of me. Hogwarts Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Starfield. What's that? 3?
Yep.
Let's see. I'm gonna say Remnant 2.
Okay.
Man, I know I'm missing some, and this stinks. Um, and then number 5. Diablo, I guess. I'm gonna throw in.
That's not bad.
I just something about that list doesn't feel right.
So I'm assuming when you put that in order, you probably got Diablo at 5.
I actually have Hi-Fi Rush at 5.
Okay. Okay. So
I have Diablo at 4.
Hi-Fi Rush 5, Diablo 4 is 4. What's 3, 2, and 1?
3 is Remnant.
Okay.
2 is Hogwarts. 1 is Starfield.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I went for my 5. I went RoboCop 5, Hi-Fi Rush 4, Diablo 4 3, Starfield 2, Alan Wake 2 1. I felt like that was pretty solid. I probably would have Hogwarts on there if I'd finished it, but I haven't finished it, and I didn't want to put it on there not having finished it, so I ended up putting RoboCop at 5. But yeah, it's not a bad list. Okay, so for 2024, looking ahead, what are the games you're most looking forward to from 2024? And it doesn't have to be 5 games, it doesn't have to be 3 games. It's what games are you looking forward to the most for 2024?
Arc 2, Hellblade 2, Avowed.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. There's nothing to look forward to on PlayStation. I don't know about Nintendo, what their plans really are.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Oh yes, Dragon's Dogma 2. Star Wars.
Outlaws.
From Ubisoft. Yeah, Outlaws.
Yep.
Possibly South of Midnight.
Yeah, that is rumored.
And I'm gonna throw these 2 out, even though they're not announced. But I'd like to try them out, whether they're great or not. And like I said, I don't think there's a high possibility that they don't drop these games this year. But I'd love to see it if they did. Wu-Tang game
No shit.
and Contraband.
Dude, what happened to Contraband? When did we last hear about that? That was like 2021?
I don't know, but if they don't come out this year, they are Exo Mecha to me.
Dude, Exo Mecha's that shit was announced in like 2020, I think.
That game was a fucking myth.
That game doesn't exist anymore. Maybe it never did. Who the fuck knows with that game? Yeah, we haven't heard of that game since it was announced, and that was like 3 years ago at this point.
Last I heard is the developers are working hard and we're re-implementing stuff to it. And that was like 2 years ago that I heard that.
I hope they are. I hope they're working hard because that shit. I don't think it exists right now. I genuinely don't. But yeah, so that's not bad. I mean, for me, I think I mentioned. Obviously, I'm excited for Hellblade, but if I got to pick one Xbox game that I'm most excited for, which probably be Avowed, just because it's more my style of game, RPG. But like Avowed, Hellblade, Dragon's Dogma 2, Star Wars Outlaws looks pretty fucking interesting. I got high hopes for that game. I got pretty high hopes for that game. Let's see what else. There's another game. I'm forgetting what it was. Ah, shit. Oh yeah, I mentioned Clockwork Revolution. I know it's not announced, but like that's I'm hoping we get that this year. Although I wouldn't be surprised if that was 2025. Vort says, "Can we talk about how they haven't made a sequel to Chess?" Well, maybe this year, bud. Maybe this year. But yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to add for the show. Oh, did you download your PS Plus games for the month?
I realized that it lapsed.
Oh no.
So I don't have PlayStation Plus Premium right now, and
No,
my wife was like, "How much is it?" And I told her how much it is, and she's like, she's like, you could get it if you want." And I was like, "I know."
Yeah.
And I didn't.
If I
Like,
want.
it's just she's like, you can get it if you want, like kind of as like a gift for the holiday season, because we didn't really exchange gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we just did all that traveling. We were sick the whole freaking time. Made sure the daughter had a good time, and we're just like, whatever. We didn't really care.
Yeah.
Gifts weren't really in the plan this year because we've been treating ourselves all year long. But yeah, I just got the TV and stuff like that, so I'm all set. But yeah, man, yeah.
That's a no from him. Yeah, I still need to turn my PS5 on and get those games. The thing is, I probably won't beat Plague Tale again. But I mean, hey, I'll get it. If they're just gonna let me have it, then I'll take it. I'll also get Evil West because I need to beat that, and that might be something I beat on my PS5. We'll see. Man. Oh yeah, and then also the Game Pass games, which I did briefly mention, but the big highlights for that this month are Resident Evil 2 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Also, Close to the Sun. I don't know if you saw, like, this shadow dropped yesterday. I think it came out and shadow dropped into Game Pass yesterday. But it actually looks pretty interesting. It's like a first-person action-adventure horror game. I don't know. I gotta try it out for myself. But I'm definitely gonna give that game a shot at some point. But yeah, I don't think there's any more real news to talk about. I was kind of hoping some big news would drop today before the show, but unfortunately, there wasn't really any.
There's the leak for the Developer Direct.
Is there a leak for Developer Direct?
There was a leak earlier of somebody talking about the Developer Direct first name Ecstasies.
Developer Direct.
Yeah, there's a leak for that a little bit ago, but
let's check it out real quick. Xbox Developer Direct, January 2024 release date leaked with possible Shadow Drop release. Okay, I think I remember seeing about the Shadow Drop release being like Double Fine's game.
Right.
I forget what they call it. Is Kiln or something like that?
Yeah, it's Kiln, and like it's like a pot kind of like you form the pot and then you put arms on it and legs and you do tasks and stuff like that. It's a weird looking game.
I'll try. Hey, I mean, I have no reason to not try it out. I could say that much. That'd be wild though if Xbox's thing every year now is to just shadow drop a game. Just every single year they have a developer direct and they shadow drop a game, which is something that's totally feasible given the amount of studios they have. So, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, it says where's the date? So they leaked the date. The possibly leaked date for a new Xbox Developer Direct is January 25th, 2024. This leak comes courtesy of prominent leaker Extasiv. I don't know how you say that. Their post includes a promotional graphic for the event with the date plus YouTube and Twitch symbols to watch it live. So this is unconfirmed by Microsoft right now, but do you think this is true? Do you think we get a developer direct this year?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. I mean, it seems like a year where Xbox would want to press on the gas.
Yeah.
So why would they back off on announcements?
Yeah.
You know? So to me, it just only makes sense. And they kind of, and they didn't tell anybody to settle down or temper anything, right?
Yeah. Yes, and
You know, so.
that's Aaron Greenberg's thing is whenever there's like news out there that isn't or rumors that aren't particularly true, he usually squashes them. And so far I haven't seen him tweet anything about this to say
Yeah,
otherwise.
in fact, like I said earlier, Jason Ronald actually just randomly put a tweet out with the Xbox logo saying, here, let me pull up exactly what he said. It wasn't anything like huge, or
Yeah.
he just said, and this was the first day of the year. He just said Xbox 2024, let's fucking go. LFG is what he
LFG,
said, but
yeah.
that's what it means. So it's just, you know, it seems like they're excited there. There's a lot to reveal, I think, this year. Not just with the games that we're anticipating with, you know, Outer Worlds, Hellblade. You're talking about Kiln. Some people are talking about, you know, South of Midnight, and, you know, it's Game Pass games like Ark 2 and stuff like that. But there's also the catalog of Activision. So anytime there's any kind of drops this year of any sort, until it happens, people are going to be like, where are the Activision games? Where are the Activision games? Where are the Activision games? So I think they have to figure out, or maybe we hear from this developer direct, how they're possibly going to roll out some of these games, or when to anticipate some of them.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Vinny today, our buddy Vinny, like when they dropped it, he's like, hey, where the hell's the Activision games? And it's like, yeah, that's something you're going to have to deal with until you start dropping them. But yeah, I mean, that's another huge thing where it's like, at some point, whenever it behooves them to do so, they're going to drop a huge amount of Activision games into Xbox Game Pass. Like, and we just don't know when. That's like a trick they have up their sleeve. For, let's say they have a slow week, a slow month, or whatever, they're just like, hey, let's just drop a stupid amount of games that we can drop. So yeah, I mean, a busy year up for Xbox. But I think, yeah, the developer direct is probably something we see every year. I don't see why not. I feel like that's just another avenue to showcase games. And with the amount of studios that they have, they need as many avenues as possible to showcase games. Because just one showcase a year isn't gonna do it justice. So developer direct makes sense every year. Hopefully we get the announcement soon. That we'll be seeing one this month. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to this year for sure. From all parties, from PlayStation, from Xbox, from third party. I'm looking forward to this year in general. But yeah, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show, guys. I mean, let's get into some outros. Ham, let them know where they can find you, bud. What you're up to and everything.
Yeah, thanks. You can find me here every Wednesday on K Mega's channel, as well every Friday for GRG podcast. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing that this week or not, because he's taking care of some family stuff. But where you can usually find me is my channel, TSWS Gaming, here on YouTube. I do shows on there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I've been starting to drop some videos on there as well. So definitely come through, check that out. That'd be dope. Hope to see you there. But other than that, thanks for having me on again, Matt.
No problem, man. Yeah, link in the description. Check out his channel. You just put out a video on Chef's Love Shack. I watched that. That was actually a pretty great video. So check that out as well. And yeah, support him.
Banging.
Support him, man. Yeah, right. You singing the song. That was great. But yeah, support Ham Solo, man. Support TSWS Gaming and everything. But for myself, you can check me out here Mondays and Fridays, videos at 11 a.m. Eastern, and then on Wednesdays we're here, obviously, the Two Player Podcast at 2 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. You can also find me on Ham's channel on Fridays for Bull Sitting at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then over here on this channel, we're going to be doing Game Drain at Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So look forward to that. Going to get the new year started with that this week. So look forward to all that stuff. And you can also check me out on Twitter at Matt Likes Games if you ever want to follow me, see my opinions on whatever nonsense is happening within the gaming community. So check that out. That's where you can find me. That's where you can find Ham. And with that being said, thank you all for watching. We will see you next week.